I wait for them to go to the mic. For potatoes and yes, round. Yeah, I agree with you. When I came in, I was like, oh my gosh. All right, here we go.
You're not as important as you want. Once you're not president, you're not important.
Oh.
If you are able, please stand and give your attention to the presentation of colors in our national anthem. The colors are presented today by the 555th Honors Detachment, and the anthem will be sung by Mr. Todd Patterson.
Hi. Right flag. Hi. Counter cut. Counter column to the right. Hi. Halt. Lift. Hey. Freeze it. Time.
Five months, but so proudly we reign. Fight for the hearts we lost, together in the seas. And the rockets spread where the bunkers begin. Good night, their flag was still there. They got that stones.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic which stands
Port, hand. About, hey. Post the color. Right, hey, close right, high. Forward, high. Counter column to the right, high.
Thank you, members of the 555 Honors Detachment. Today's invocation will be offered by Triple Neck member Airman Dana Kershett.
Let us pray. Almighty God, who loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten Son for a brief moment of time, and then redeemed that world from the most outrageous sin of all eternity. Let us now find thanksgiving in our hearts for all of your precious gifts. Let us recognize our military men and women who have pledged their lives, their fortunes, their sacred honor to protect life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to all the suppressed peoples of the world. Among your cherished gifts, O Lord, are the Service Clubs of America. Thank you for Rotary International hosting this celebration and feast. May their goals and the purpose of the United States of America be obtained and maintained by your grace. Bless us now as we continue our duty. We do this in the name of our Savior, Jesus, our risen Christ. Amen. Thank you.
Please be seated. Thank you, Airman Kershett. At this time, we'd like to recognize all of our Rotary veterans present. So if you're present, please stand if you are able. Rotary veterans, don't be shy. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. We are honored to have two general officers present with us today. So could we please have Army Major General Tom Carmody and Air Force Brigadier General Rich Green stand. All right. Will all of our veteran guests please stand? Let's give them all a round of applause. At this time, will you please give your attention now to the POA and mining ceremony. The reading will be led by retired Navy Master Chief John Scott.
Latest update by the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, or DPAA, states that as of May 22nd, 2023, more than 81,000 Americans remain missing from World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Cold War, the Gulf Wars, and other conflicts. Out of the total, approximately 75% of the missing are located in the Indo-Pacific region, and 41,000 of the missing are presumed lost at sea from ship losses and known aircraft losses. The DPAA is now working on phase 5 of 7 to disinter over 600 sets of unidentified remains from the Korean War that were interred in National Memorial Cemetery in Honolulu. This and other work around the world done in cemeteries and battlefields is done in support of their mission to provide the fullest possible accounting for our missing personnel to their families and the nation. One of the most recently accounted for MIAs is Pharmacist made second class Merle Chester Joseph Hillman from Holyoke, Massachusetts. Betty Oscar Hillman was serving aboard the USS California on December 7th, 1941. Betty Oscar Hillman's remains were identified in Hawaii on October 20th, 2023. As you entered the room today, you may have noticed a small table in a place of honor. It is set for one. This table is our way of symbolizing the fact members of our profession are missing from our midst. They're commonly called POWs or MIAs. We call them brothers and sisters. They weren't able to be with us this afternoon, so we remember them this way. Table is round to show our everlasting concern for those who are missing. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to duty. The single red rose displayed in the vase reminds us of the life of the missing and their families and loved ones. The vase is adorned with a yellow ribbon, symbol of our committed determination to account for the missing. A slice of lemon on the plate is to remind us of the bitter fate of those captured and missing in the foreign land away from them. The pinch of salt symbolizes the tears of our missing comrades and those in their family. The lighted candle symbolizes everlasting hope of those awaiting their return. The chair is empty. They are missing. Let us now raise our glasses in a toast to honor America's POWs, MIAs, to the success of the efforts to account for them, and to the safety of all now serving our nation. The toast. We honor their service today. Common names and unusual that here, song, here, French, please stand and be recognized.
And the dusty trail and those space bonds floating. Space bonds floating. It's high, high, in the field of timber. Shout out to number solid strong, to re-veterans. You will always know that those case are holding on. My thoughts. That break of day, our last night saw straight to the bone. Until we once more hear voice, we will have to be told. We come straight to the call. We play. Are in glory. Then cross in our life, our blessed are we're always ready to do or die. I start we fight for. We go in a while beyond third life. Happy die, start away from the awkward one, terrible road. Or go down in flames, it's something US Air Force. First to fight for right and freedom and to keep our honor. We are proud to claim the title of United States. Navy, Coast Guard, Air Force, the United States are on your best day.
Does this work? No, we gotta use this.
All right, well, the speaker's working. That's good. It is truly my He was born in Pennington Gap, Virginia, a small Appalachian community located in the heart of America's coal country. Raised the youngest of 7 siblings, Jerry developed a strong work ethic young in life when his loving father was tragically killed in a coal mine accident when he was 5 years old. Widowed, his mother leaned on Jerry and his siblings to make ends meet, and where he learned the very basics of business and hard work. Prompted after high school graduation, Jerry enlisted in the United States Army. He was shortly thereafter sent to basic training, where he was identified and selected to assume assignment as a helicopter gunner in the Vietnam War or conflict. At the age of 18, Jerry was sent to the United States base in Saigon, Vietnam, where he would be utilized for various missions throughout the 3+ years of service. Jerry and his fellow comrades experienced numerous heavy artillery encounters throughout his tour of duty, including being shot down while on a helicopter mission. Recipient of 2 Purple Hearts, Jerry's military service ended after the completion of countless successful missions. Jerry returned home after the service and took a job selling industrial nuts and bolts for the HTV fasteners out of Cleveland, where his older brother was part of it. After self-education in the industry and entrepreneurial spirit, Jerry left Cleveland and relocated to the Worcester area to establish his own industrial fastener company, Tricor Industrial. A quick study, Jerry utilized the success of Tricor Industrial to enter various private sector endeavors, including the purchase and operation of real estate companies, a real estate company with locations in Worcester. Recognized for having a love of real estate and project management, Jerry went on to have a successful development career, which included the construction of more than 250 residential homes through Baker Building, the development of more than 1 million square feet of commercial property through J. Baker Industries, and the construction of more than 2 million square feet of industrial property through a partnership named Chesterland Productions. Love of fine cuisine, Jerry took his business into the restaurant industry, where he owned and operated Jake's Steakhouses, the Old Jail in Worcester, and Sam Sneed's in various locations throughout the nation. Jerry has been recognized as having the vision and leading development of Worcester's North End in the late 80s, which has generated millions of annual tax revenue for the local community and the school system. He continues to develop real estate ventures and help local businesses thrive in every corner of Worcester to this day. Jerry spent all his adult life as a resident of Worcester and Wayne County, where he raised his 3 children, Jeff, Christy, and Jason. Jerry has a recognized passion for Worcester and Wayne County, which has led him to support various nonprofits and community initiatives. He remains dedicated to Worcester community today, by playing a quiet role in projects that will shape the community well into the next future. Rotarians and guests, Jerry Baker.
We had some mic issues today, so we're gonna make sure to keep it up for you. You're here. Can you hear him? All right. Little Q&A with Jerry today. So
the world and I wanted to have a job.
So you didn't see much happening, having a gap. So what was the process? I mean, you decided you're gonna list, what was the process of going from having a gap, getting to Vietnam? Talk to us about that.
I went to a Army recruiter
Okay.
and told them what I wanted to do. They enlisted me. I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and went through basic training. Got out of basic training and was sent to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, for the second level of training, and was there for 8 weeks. But while I was at Fort Knox, we were absolute green peas, you can imagine, as young kids. And the Bay of Pigs started to break out. And we took our duffel bags, filled everything we had, threw them in a container, and they sent us to Texas for the Bay of Pigs. That would have been a slaughter that you've never seen before. They had it named right.
But you didn't look at that, though, right, Jerry?
But they sent it back.
Right. Exactly. So about 3-4 months, you were headed to Vietnam. So where did, you went from Fort Leonard Wood and then you got transferred, where did you get transferred to Oakland?
I got transferred to Vietnam, but they sent me an odd situation. I'd like to share with you here for a minute. They sent me to Oakland, California, to a holding unit. And I'm there about 5 weeks. And I said, "What are you doing, guys?" They said, "We're waiting for a passport." I said, "I gotta have a passport to go to Vietnam and aboard." They said, "Yes." And they also did a top security clearance on. So I thought I was getting to be pretty important at that point, until I got to Vietnam.
So you landed in Saigon, Jerry. That's where you started. That's where your base was. So tell us a little bit about your service, some of the missions, and then what were your first assignments when you arrived in Vietnam?
I was assigned to the 11th Air Assault Battalion, and had like 9 companies scattered out through the country, and about 1,000 people in the 145th. They had a company at Conchanook called UTT, Utility Tactical Transport. And that was the mean helicopters of the group. And so I volunteered to be a gunner. And they grabbed me pretty quick. They said, "That guy must be nuts." So I went full time as a gunner. And it was exciting, it was scary. You were all of a sudden, here I am, an 18-year-old guy, and I'm shooting at people and they're shooting at me. That changes your whole life. Trust me, it does. And so a lot of things happened during those times. I started out on missions with them, and the first mission that I went on was up in the mountains to the Montegard group, Mountain Yard, we call them, in Virginia. And they come out and everybody had on loin cloth, which was not what we had in Virginia. And there was 2 special forces guys there, and they came out, and I've never seen 2 people with staring eye like I saw them. They were trying to help the month guards protect themselves and to try to fight off the Viet Cong. And they'd been eating monkey and rice for 6 or 8 weeks. So I took all the sea rations off out of the helicopter and gave it to them. And I had 2 packs of cigarettes, and I got hugged tighter than I've ever been hugged. So that was my first mission.
Yeah, so Jerry, you talk about being a gunner, so really throughout throughout the conflict of war, what was your goal? You had various goals. What did you guys do as far as, what was the mission that you would go on in the various?
We would start on a mission that would change pretty fast sometimes. But as a gunner, as we were running along, I was watching or surveilling the ground and looking for anything that was out of norm, or anything that was like a small convoy moving or something. And then we would go down and challenge them. And then as we were in different areas, we would get called in by some of the ground troops that would have a problem. They would have somebody wounded or someone dead, and they would ask us to come in and get them. And that was called a dust off. And I can tell you that was the toughest thing we did for a number of reasons. The troops were there would be some Arvin troops, which are Vietnamese soldiers, or there would be a few Americans there, and there would be Viet Cong somewhere close by. And we would go in and it would be hot when we would go in. And the first real tough one we went into, we were going to pick up 2 bodies. And I'm in the back of the helicopter, and the guys on the ground were bringing, I had a hold of a body bag and to put it on the helicopter, and I got my mouthpiece on my helmet shot off. That's about as close as you'll ever want to get to anything. So then they bring the other one up, and we got him on, and I had my gun, and the bullet came right by my gun and knocked the corner of my hand off. So that was the day that my knees got tested. Trust me, that was as close as you'll ever get without being hurt. I was talking to them, and they had Red Cross helicopters over there. That was a farce. They had no guns, nothing on it, and the Viet Cong they wouldn't even notice that. They see a helicopter, they shoot it. So that didn't last very long. So again, it picked up for us to either get the wounded or the dead out of there. That was the Army way of doing things. So.
Jerry, just equipment wise, what aircraft did you fly in? And as a gunner, were you very well equipped, or what was your thoughts on the equipment?
Well, we flew in a UH-1B, which is the smaller of the 2 helicopters. The D was for transport of troops. And I didn't have a machine gun mounted on the helicopter. I had nylon straps that I hooked up to, and my gun would hook up to, and we would shoot from there. So it was, they weren't very well equipped. And the helmet that I wore was white. And I tell you right now, if I got in the jungle, I'd have probably taken that off. It was, they weren't equipped very well though.
Jerry, and you and I have had I've had the honor of talking to you this quiet and your service over the years, but there's a couple missions that I know stand out in your memory throughout the years. I thought that anything shows there.
Well, one real hot area of combat and was in the northern part up from Saigon up toward the mountains, and it was Bambi-Tuit. We went into that area, and as we were going in, we got hit with the helicopter, and I got hit. And I got hit in the same place that Forrest Gump did. And I'm not going to all show it to you. So you know that. Crazy times. There were some crazy times.
But you were lucky though when you landed. You were actually the South Vietnamese.
The Arvin troops were there, and the first thing I helped the crew chief get out, but we got it. And, the Army troops were there, and the very first one I saw had a chicken tied to his backpack behind it. And this thing was making all kinds of noise. And I went up to the lion's neck. And the guy got real mad at me, and I told him the best way I could tell him that he was gonna have to find something else to eat. It was awesome. The Army troops, as we dealt with them throughout the time that I was throughout the year, they weren't necessarily the best soldiers I ran into. They would try to get in the helicopter and get away from whatever they were at. And it wasn't good. We kept asking ourselves, why were we there? If they weren't fighting, why were we there? And I tell this story a lot. When I would be flying, and if I would start to fire, if I saw something I needed to lay some ammo down, I had a pilot that I really enjoyed flying with. He was a warrant officer. And this guy had been in Vietnam for a while, and he had a wheelbarrow mustache. He had it all waxed up, and he was just a good guy. But if I started firing, he would start singing Amazing Grace. You ought to try to read through that. That was touching. By the way, there was a man from Wayne County that was in my company that was a pilot in Vietnam, and I didn't know him very well because he was in another company. But maybe somebody here might know him. He was from the Burbank area, and his name was Al Hill. He was a captain and a pilot, and he went his nickname was Tex Hill, and I've tried to find him. And he was in Florida the last time. But it's a small world when you come back and you run into a guy that you were right next to.
Jerry, I wanted you to share this story about, you had an incident where you were covering a rice paddy and you received some fire, and it kind of, it took some grief over that, and kind of felt that.
You know, I was flying with my buddy, the guy with the wheelbarrow, and I was flying with the company commander. And we're out and we're in the rice paddy area, and there was a hooch out into the rice paddy area, and it was raised just a little bit above the rice paddy itself. And I started drawing fire to it, and they were using tracer, and I was using tracer, and I laid them in pretty heavy into the hooch. And then there was people all out in the rice paddy, so I started spreading some ammo out through there as much as I could. And we get back, and the company commander was on our trip with us. And he said, "Baker, you don't shoot unless you're fired upon." And I was trying to defend myself, and the game or the other pilot was trying to hold me back not to say anything. But that was pretty upsetting. But I will.
Yeah.
The game warden came up and he said, "Baker," he said, "it's better to get your butt chewed out than your butt shot off." Why would be anytime?
So Jerry, so what did you get paid for your service? I know there was some discussion on that, and how many documented hours did you tally? We looked at that stuff, and Jerry's been pretty quiet about his service, but over the last couple of months, we'll be able to look at that. So I've got it documented here, but you know what you got paid while you're,
You know, I don't for sure. It rings in my mind that I made $57 or $59 a month. I don't, and I had to spend money on it. Well, I didn't do a lot of partying.
And then overall, though, Jerry, the service hours and some of the awards that you received.
In helicopter flying, if you would exceed 50 combat flying hours, you would get a armed forces, but you would get
Clothes, get clothes on top of that.
on top of what?
Yeah, it's in there.
I had 9 air medals. 9 air medals at 50 hours each is a lot of combat flying hours. Trust me, that's a lot of combat flying hours. So I got those 9 citations.
You got 2 Purple Hearts and 1 Bronze Star that I saw at your house there, Jerry. 6 years of total service, 3 years in Vietnam, and 3 years of the reserve. But post service, Jerry, so do you remember when you were discharged? Right?
Not discarded.
Yeah. We've had fun with this, right?
You know, coming back from Vietnam, I flew, I got on a plane in Saigon at 105 to Fairbanks, Alaska, which was 20. And they went through all of my stuff in customs in Alaska, and I had a crossbow that was made by Viet Cong with a sight made on it. It's pretty unique. And I had a Russian rifle that they had captured, and I got it. And they took them away from me. And I was pretty mad. I thought I was real mad until I got back on the plane and went to the LA airport. And guess who was there? I was in the very first coming back from Vietnam, and all the hippies were there. Remember all the stuff they did? It was spitting at us. Oh my God. And there was a group of them there that were kind of clustered together, and I walked over to them and I said, guys, this is a lucky day for you guys. They looked at me and they said, what are you talking about? I said, I don't have my gun with me.
Jerry, it was interesting. You kind of perked up when you left Vietnam. You knew or got those orders being discharged in September. And tell us about the sticks that guys would carry around.
Everybody's been in the military knows what a short stick is, don't they? You make that stick and whittle it out to the time that you were going to be out. And so all the guys in Vietnam had short sticks.
Well, you flew, but and then also, I remember this, when you landed, prior to LAX, you landed at Alaska. Right?
Yeah.
And you had one thing in mind. What was that?
After being in Vietnam for a year, I wanted a glass of water, or a glass of milk so bad. And I didn't know it was going to Alaska because there's not a lot of milk out probably in Alaska. But I remember back then, that's 60 years ago, they wanted $5 for a small glass of milk, and it was terrible.
Yeah, that's funny. Last question I got for you, Jerry. So how do you feel that your service has affected you as a person? The rest of your life and all the things that you've done.
There's a lot of things that affected my life. You go into the military and you kind of have fun and laugh and you got make up friends and all those things, and they put you through some physical training and they teach you how to shoot a gun and all those things. But everything gets more real when somebody shoots at you and you start shooting at them. You grow up fast, you mature fast. So it's a pretty interesting situation. I want to share one more thing and I'm finished. In my company in Conchinook, a young officer came into our company. He was a lieutenant colonel. And I got to know him a little bit, and he was cool. And that was Schwarzkopf. He was a cool dude, let me tell you. And tough. I also got to fly on a mission with General Westmore. Because he was there a lot. And I got to fly with Cyrus Vance. So I felt like I was pretty important with that. So that's all I got.
Excellent, thank you, Jerry.
What they do. Yeah, if they have any on.
If anybody has any questions, we got about 5 minutes for questions. If anybody has any questions, John's got the traveling mic here. Jerry, we're gonna- Any questions? Yeah, it's really, it's got one back there.
A very good friend that last month passed away, he was chocolate about it, he died at 84, really big diseases. How are you managing that?
They said I had exposure to aviation or in my helicopter. The pilot, he had a canister of white phosphorus that his arm just about burned off. That was ugly. And I can tell you, we observed some when the Air Force was out spreading some stuff. And if you want to see something really ugly, what's the fire? Napalm. I saw them in Cambodia, which we didn't supposed to be there, but we were there looking at the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And they came in and spread napalm. And I can tell you, anybody there is gone. It was about as wild a thing as I've ever seen.
Have you ever been back to Vietnam?
I have not. I thought about it. I've looked at it in on the computer. It's a pretty fancy place now. You know, I've had a lot of fun with baseball. He's they've got a bartender there, Kobe, and he is Vietnamese. And I said, Kobe, when were you born? He said, in 1965. I said, Kobe, you could be my son. So today he calls me Pops all the time. So it's been fun.
One, Josh has one.
Yeah, so you know, all those things you were talking about, and LAX ran into, now so many years later, what do you think about the way they felt about the war versus the way you feel about it right now today, rather than when you were stepping off that plane?
I didn't like those guys. They didn't like me. I think I explained how lucky they were, but I had tears in my eyes for this reason. When a man starts getting tears in his eyes, he could be dangerous. You can trust that. Okay. They were goofy. They're smoking a lot of marijuana. And it wasn't good.
Got time for one more, Mr. Gessler?
Are there statistics on survival rates of gutters in Vietnam and from the helicopters?
I didn't do one myself. So I don't know. You know, but we didn't get hit as much as you think we did. Everybody said we were setting dust. We were pretty safe. And there was some helicopters that went down, but they wasn't big enough.
Thanks again, Jerry.
You're welcome.
If tomorrow things were gone, I'd work for my life. And start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my stars, if we live here today. Cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. From the lakes of Minnesota, the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, sea to shining sea. From Detroit down to Worcester, New York to LA. Oh, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say.
Wow, that is amazing. All right. So we are very, very honored to have everyone here today, and especially our veterans. And Jerry, I love hearing your story. I love hearing everything about it. We really appreciate your time. I would like to give you a moment for that. Sorry, I'm so emotional. I don't even know why. I mean, I do, but I'm not gonna go there. But anyways, Todd, your voice is amazing. Thank you so much. That really. We also gotta thank our kitchen crew for doing an amazing job. Service above self to our country and defending our freedom at home and across the globe. So thank you. And I did forget one, the Wayne County Community Foundation and the program committee for our programs that we have today. So thank you to everyone. So at this time, if you are able, please stand in silence as we remember Rotary veterans who have passed away in recent years. And again, remembering all veterans, their families, and those that serve our country today in harm's way. First is Clyde L. Webb. William Lee Galt. Stanley Galt. Joseph Retzler. Bud Huck. Sam Shapiro. Bob Breeden. Gordon Giffen. David Briggs. Robert P. Bodner. Charles Franks. Charles Daughtry. And Walter C. Groeschel. Those ones, all that we can remember. All right, so that is the end of our service. Again, thank you for being here. I do have a few announcements for you. First is Flag Maintenance Day is on Tuesday from 4 to 8 and possible. And then bell ringing, it was in the email, and also Angel will have a sign up next week if you're interested, but that starts after Thanksgiving. And then a slate of officers at your desks or at your tables. So that will be for next club elections, for the next club elections. I messed that all up. And then if you are a veteran and are have a few minutes, we'd love you to stick around and we can take a picture. And with that, we stand adjourned. Thank you.